Boy, I'm from the land till I die. Hey guys, Soulless Reviews here, and today I want to talk about the new Machine Gun Kelly project, General Admission. Now, Machine Gun Kelly is a Cleveland City native, which just so happens to be where I'm from too. That being said, I can confirm for you guys that Lake Erie is just a myth. There actually is just one giant pit that if you fall down, you will approximately fall for maybe 2.5 hours, and then hit the bottom and probably die. Nah, I'm playing. But from the looks of his actual album cover, this is actually really beautiful. I love the artwork on this thing, and it shows Cleveland in the picture, then it shows like this cliff, like the Shel Silverstein cliff. It's just kind of like a weird comparison I saw. But to me, it just kind of looks like it's Cleveland isolated, and to him it looks like the only city that matters in the world. It's isolated because it's the only one that matters, I think. That's just kind of my interpretation of what I see. But you also might be thinking that, oh, this guy's a Cleveland City native. He must be like a hardcore backpacker of Machine Gun Kelly. Well, no, I did like Lace Up, but it wasn't all that great of a project. I feel like it was too big for its shoes, you know? Had all these big name artists like Tech Nine and Bun B and DMX, and it had some good production on it, but at the end of the day, I feel like he made it big, but with no clear idea. He was like, ugh, I mean, I need to buckle down and really give my people something to really hold on to. So yeah, I'm actually really excited to hear this. Obviously, I'm from where he's from, so there's some pride to be shown. And if you've walked around Cleveland, or if you've just stepped outside, you've surely heard Till I Die, because that song is everywhere. So, I mean, it's a banging song, I love it. It's just nice, smooth, good rep track. At the end of the day, I just want to say I've already heard it, so, you know, there's that. But, guys, I am going to listen to this whole album, General Admission by Machine Gun Kelly, and then afterwards, I am going to tell you guys just how I feel about it, which is a very unbiased opinion. Alright guys, so what did I think of Machine Gun Kelly's new project? Well, I thought it was pretty good. I actually enjoyed a large portion of it. I didn't find myself finding that many flaws with it. I liked the instrumentation, I liked his lyrics. For the most part, I enjoyed the work Machine Gun Kelly put into this project, and what I love the most about this project is that I can take it 100% seriously as a hip-hop project. This isn't some guy trying to make a name for himself anymore. This is some guy that already made a name for himself. He has to prove himself. Now, why should we pay attention to you after we've already heard one project from you? What are you going to do to differentiate yourself that you didn't do on your earlier project? And I think he takes it a step forward to really indulge into his personal life, to really rep where he's from. He takes it a step further to legitimize his position in the rap game. And like I was talking about, it's not just subject matter here that seems to be the maturity, it seems the instrumentation he's using too, the production overall, seems to show some more growth. This isn't just hip-hop music, but there's also a large incorporation of rock music in here also. And I know some of you were thinking like, oh no, another rapper who tries to go rock, like Lil Wayne, oh that sounded horrible. Hell, even Yellow tried to incorporate that a little bit on Radioactive, and that didn't turn out to his best interest, so it's a really groan-worthy move. But what I thought Machine Gun Kelly did differently and best was the fact that he made hip-hop music, he made these dope beats, he made these dope songs, and then he kind of slew together some instrumentals that resembled rock instrumentals. He didn't just go, I want to make a rock hip-hop song, and then chose a rock instrumental, and then built a hip-hop song off that. He built the rock song off of an already hip-hop foundation, and I think that's where he succeeded where others don't when trying to progress in rock hip-hop. I think the only song that really veers away from that foundation is Bad Motherfucker with Kid Rock, which again alludes back to Yellow Wolf and his collaboration with Kid Rock off Radioactive, Let's Roll. But in Machine Gun Kelly's case, he seems to make it it's the more rock song out of all of the tracks on here. Instead of sampling an instrumental like a guitar or drums, he seems to go the full mile with the rock instrumentals. He rides the beat on that track really well, and although it didn't offer much subject matter-wise, it just kind of reiterated the fact that Machine Gun Kelly is kind of like a bad boy. It's kind of like Wild Boy off his first album in rock formation. It essentially is just reiterating that he's not someone to mess with. And although it may have collided poorly if he didn't choose what he was doing right, I think it was an okay collaboration at the end of the day. I think the way he mixed rock and hip-hop, I think it was actually a track I liked the most. It bangs really hard, but I was more worried about how it was going to sound in its entirety, and I think he pulled it off well. That was the most rock track on here. There were definitely other places on the album where he decided to include rock instrumentals that I think worked over very well, like on the first track, Spotlight, where he had some echoing guitar plucks in the background that I think worked to his advantage. It definitely emphasizes his thought patterns as to what if he didn't go through the struggles that he went through in his early life, would he make it to where he is today? It definitely helps emphasize that intro, and I think it made for a great intro, the fact that he was able to include such instrumentation. Or on the track Gone with Larry Sanchez, that really helped, it really helped enforce the idea he was trying to get across, which was him just trying to be a better father to his kids than his father was to him, and he kind of digs into his father a little bit for being as poor of a father that he was, but what helps deliver the message is it being a very slow but hard-hitting track, but at the same time using some very good guitar strings in the background to help enforce it musically as the general idea that he wants to tell his listeners about. Hell, even on the Till I Die track that I mentioned earlier, where it's just a very obvious hard-hitting rep track for the city of Cleveland, he still manages to incorporate like these very groggy guitar whines on the hook, which aren't used in the actual verses, but when the hook comes along, you can actually pick up on the very darker strings. And it's not to say rock is the only thing you're going to hear on here either. He does a great job of differentiating what he uses. There's definitely some great violin usage on Alpha Omega, and a little more high-pitched piano keys on Every Day, and even delivering a very grand orchestra feel on the track World Series. Like I said, MGK, he seems to be taking a step up from his normal, just very hard-hitting slap production. He has more room to breathe on this LP, and it surely shows in his instrumentation, especially due to the fact that he's using different instrumentals here and there, and it really helps enforce the idea that he's someone you shouldn't be messing with, and somebody you should really start to respect in the rap game, because he has some real great artistical views. What seemed to surprise me the most was thematically, Machine Gun Kelly was taking almost like a grittier approach to some of these songs. Hell, actually, one of my favorite tracks on here was Merry Go Round, and it was mainly because of Machine Gun Kelly surprised me with this ability to tell a story. He was rapping while at the same time painting a picture in my mind while I was listening to his lyrics, and I really commend him on being able to do that. Not many artists to this day can paint a picture that well. Many artists try to tell a story, but the problem is, it's such a simplistically dull story because they have to make their lines rhyme, that it's just not all that interesting, and it's not something you can commend them on because it didn't take that much thought to come up with. Whereas Merry-Go-Round, I thought it was very intense. I'm not going to ruin the story for you guys. You guys actually got to go listen to that track if you want to hear it. But a real dark tale, a really dark story, but I really loved hearing about it. At the end of the track, I was like, man, that was a really dark story. I mean, you probably could have formed that in some kind of TV episode or something. Like, man, that was dark. But at the same time, it was a track I wanted to go back and listen to because I just love the way he forms his words to create this perfect picture. And not perfect, this well-painted picture. I thought it was a very good track. And going to a few tracks before that, the combination of Gone and Story of the Stairs right after each other, like right next to each other, I thought that was a great combination because Gone kind of told the tale of his father, while Story of the Stairs told the story of his mother, because both of them left him when he was at a young age. I know, very sad. I kind of shed a tear when I found that out. And while Gone focuses more on his dad leaving him and how he never came back and he wants to be the father his dad can never be to his kids, Story of the Stairs kind of tells the tale about how Machine Gun Kelly felt empty without his mother. He felt like the one person he would think to support him the most would be the woman who gave birth to him, and yet she wasn't there for him. However, in the long run, she eventually showed up to have support for him. He was talking about how he ran down the stairs, opened the door, and she was there. So he lived a large part of his life without his mom feeling empty, but eventually she came back. So it was like two different sides. He told one story about his dad, one story about his mom, and I thought it was really cool how he did that. Because most people, yeah, they write songs about having father issues. Take Demi Lovato's project I just reviewed last Friday. And she had her own track, Father, how she was talking about her own father issues. A lot of artists focus on that, and that's something they can use. It actually turns out to be very emotional tracks that it's good for all audiences. However, here, he took the approach of, yes, telling a story about his father, but at the same time taking the time to talk about his mother, so we can kind of draw them together as we can see where Machine Gun Kelly came from. He's giving us a good picture of his life by telling us the situation he had with both of his parents. So up in this point, I haven't really hated on this album in any way, but that's not to say I'm not going on a rant saying this album is perfect, you should go check it out. I actually am going to tell you to check it out, but there are some things you should know while going into this. Machine Gun Kelly does have these great ideas, and they're very evident in the track listing here when I listened to the album, but there were also times when I felt that he was kind of beating a dead horse. He was telling a story of something we almost already knew about him, and it just felt like he knew he had to create filler for this album because it was too short, so he had to create some kind of subject matter of the hood that he was a part of, so he went ahead and made some of these kind of filler tracks. Like OZ. Now, of course, OZ was a very touching track about how Machine Gun Kelly was telling us how he had a drug addiction, and it's hard to kick a drug addiction, especially because he has to act somewhat professional in this rap career, but at the same time, it was a little drawn out because obviously, it's just kind of general history of Machine Gun Kelly that he was a drug addict, and yes, it had a very emotional side to it, and I did enjoy hearing it the first time. It was just something that didn't pique my interest to coming back to. Or on World Series, where essentially he's taking his life and making it to the comparison of Tupac's, of course in the Thug Life, and also in the version of Tupac's album being called All Eyes on Me, and him feeling like there are all eyes on him now in his new rise of fame. And he even in that song does the very cliche Kirko bangs line. Everybody has a Kirko line eventually, and for him it was, keep it banging like Kirko. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna hold that against you, but you only get one of those. You only get one of those. Where, again, yes, very good idea, very, like, whoa, all eyes on you, but I mean, a lot of rappers have made that line reference before where they felt like all eyes on them, like I'm Tupac, and they summed it up in one line, whereas Machine Gun Kelly feels the need to write a whole song about it. Yes, there's some good production on that song, and yes, it was kind of an enjoyable listen, but at the same time, same thing like OZ, I don't feel myself going back to it because it's something I already know about, and now it's something that I have no interest to go back and to listen to it. And then the last song I wanted to mention, to this album's discredit, was A Little More, which had a nice violin sample, like I said earlier, and the vocals, which were given by Victoria Monet. I just felt like that song was a little cliche. It was essentially saying that if people in hoods or people who partake in violence were given a little more love, wouldn't this place be more peaceful? And it just came off as kind of like a corny thing, because it's just, you're essentially preaching for world peace, and we all know that's something that is never going to happen. World peace is just a figment of our imaginations. You're technically telling us, in a way that seems to be very cheesy, a topic that it can never happen. And I just found the track to be, like I said, cheesy, corny overall, just not something I really wanted to go back to. It has some replay value, but at the end of the day, it's not a track I really want to hear again, because of just how sweet sounding, but not all that appealing it was. Okay, did I rant enough? It's like hit 12 minutes already? Jeez. Okay, guys, so I'm going to sum this up for you real quick. This album is very solid. Machine Gun Kelly shows maturity in his production, his lyrics. His flow is always great. His delivery is fantastic on every song. Machine Gun Kelly knows how to deliver. That's what I love about him. And this album, I think, came together really well and was a step forward in his career, and I think exemplified a grown-up version of Machine Gun Kelly, as opposed to the person who just really didn't know what he wanted to do on his first album, Lace Up. So I would say go check General Admission out. It's a very solid album. Something you would put on your iTunes, yes, because there's a lot of tracks on here that I would want to hear again. It's a very solid project, and yeah, that's all I got for you guys. If you want to like or subscribe, that would be awesome. I would really appreciate it, and till next time, Soulless Reviews.